Instructional plan, and it's a school-based approach. I believe that many hands make light work, and it cannot just be the work of the classroom teacher to determine the success of our students in math. So we have a math instructional coach, and her primary role is to sit down, support, plan. That may mean she may have to model, she may have to co-teach, but whatever is necessary to sit down with each teacher on a weekly basis to making sure that they have a thorough plan and get support as necessary. And then the math lead as it relates to administration. And so that means that I have to know what's going on in each of the math classes. I have to know the curriculum, because I also have to be able to sit down and have conversations with my teachers and plan with them if necessary in order for them to be to do well. So it's everybody. And then I'll just even get into the fact that I tell my science teachers that, of course, you're a math teacher as well. So figuring out how do you infuse math in your science lessons? How do you infuse math in social studies? It has to be an interdisciplinary approach or school-wide approach as it relates to math, but also student achievement in general. And that's our mindset. Everyone in this building is involved in the work.
So when I approach lesson planning, first I've already looked at the unit to kind of figure out where the lesson fits within the bigger scope of ideas that students need to take away. And then when I look at a lesson, I like to look at it by myself first. Usually we'll do the exit ticket, unpack the standard to understand what knowledge and skills students need to know in order to move forward through the lesson. After I do that, I will generally do the problems myself, figure out what kinds of routines might be present, what misconceptions I need to plan for. And then I am a big fan of looking at the coherence map, because that helps me understand what misconceptions might happen and how to address them. So how have students learned it in the past? How might that support with how I introduce a topic, or what supports I put in place for students with disabilities as we progress throughout the lesson. And then I'll sit down with a co-teacher and my city year aide, and we'll figure out, okay, specific students, how do we adjust the lesson to make sure that we're adapting and differentiating for different needs and different learning styles.
Me and my friend Torian, we worked on a project when we had to do our ad for a credit card. Most likely whenever I get a hard question, we always work together on it. Ms. Green helps me when I struggle with a question by explaining and breaking down the question to me.
I have fun in math class. It's not that complicated, but it is at the same time. Me and my classmates work together by trying to figure out the question, then solve the answer. Or if we can't do that, we'll ask Ms. Green to help us try to figure out the question. She'll break the question down and egg our way to the answer, but doesn't give us the answer.
I try to release as much as I can. I do not like to be the gatekeeper of knowledge in my room, so I really try to draw upon what students are saying, what their responses are, and try to figure out, okay, well, this is the asset that they're bringing into this conversation, so how do I use this asset through the conversation that we're about to have today? I really enjoy problem solving, just personally, so it's really cool to get to create and curate those experiences for students when they get to problem solve. And then whenever a student has an aha moment, it is very fulfilling.
My teachers know we are constantly looking at student data, figuring out where they are. And then our goal every single day in our math classes are retooling how you teach based on the information that students give us. So how they did on that exit ticket, or the questions that they have, or the blank stares on their face. It's the job of that teacher in that moment or that night to figure out, this is what I need to do differently to making sure every student in the room understands math. And that's how we are. And it's a push, because historically, math is about a teacher standing at the front of the room telling you, these are the steps, this is how you do it, this is right, this is wrong. But that's now how students internalize math, to be able to critically think about any problem that you put in front of them. It's now about allowing students to noodle through the questions, struggle a little bit, ask each other questions. So I don't want my students to think, well, I'm doing this because Mr. Taylor told me this is what I'm supposed to do. No, I'm doing this because I know these are the steps, this is how we can get through it. These are the multiple ways that I can solve the problem. And that's more powerful than anything else, for our students to be able to critically think about any problem that's put in front of them. It also helps build their confidence at the same time.
Sometimes joy and math aren't always in the same category for folks, and I think that the process of thinking mathematically is a very joyful thing that folks can apply to any aspect of their life. And so I want students not to feel defeated. I want them to see themselves in the math that they're doing. I want them to see themselves as the experts in the room and that they have something to contribute to the conversation. The first thing I do in any class is have students create a math autobiography. And so in that autobiography, they really reflect on the years of math that they've had up until my class. And that really gets me the opportunity to get to know them as math learners, but then also what their experiences have been emotionally. Like, what are they walking in with that I'm gonna have to plan around? And so as we go forward, I get to know students, build relationships, and then those relationships get leveraged, and I can bring in things that they enjoy, ways that they like to learn. And so by the time they leave my classroom and go to the next grade level, I would hope that they know who they are as learners, and that way they can also identify like what they like about math, because it's gonna be something. Like, they're gonna like something about math by the time they leave my room.
One thing about this math journey, because math is a huge, huge, heavy weight that we feel like as educators we haven't quite cracked. But what I'm learning through our curriculum and through our students and through our teachers, the importance of everyone being involved in math is what's going to be the game changer. So everyone has to feel like they are a math teacher, or getting kids to break down that math phobia. I think sometimes we project our math insecurities on kids, and that of course kind of sets them back. So we have to build up everybody's confidence in the building, the parents and the kids, in order for us to truly be able to tackle math and say to our kids, everyone can do math and do math well.